Hello everyone, welcome to this short video, which is part of the introductory videos of the Next Generation Agricultural Extension Social Relations for Practice Change research project led by Dr. Brian Cook at the University of Melbourne. This project is funded by the Australian Centre for International Agricultural Research. My name is Paula Satizabal. I am a research fellow working at the School of Geography, Earth and Atmospheric Science at the University of Melbourne. Before I start, I would like to acknowledge that I'm recording this video from Boomerang country. I acknowledge that sovereignty over this land was never ceded and that this was and continues to be Aboriginal country. I pay my respects to elders past and present and to any Aboriginal, Torres Strait and Indigenous person listening to this video. Also extending my respect to farmers in Cambodia who are central to this project and to agricultural extension. I am a human geographer. I have a background in environmental governance and political ecology. My work has focused on power knowledge dynamics, studying issues associated with the access to and control over resources, places, and people. I have had the opportunity to work with farming and fishing communities in Cambodia, the Philippines, and Colombia. As a political ecologist, my research explores socio-environmental problems, examining who benefits and who loses, and what is being excluded and why. My research seeks to contribute to more reciprocal and socially just ways of doing research and working with rural communities in the pursuit of social and environmental justice. In this video, I will be introducing Activity 1, called The Missing Extensionists, in reference to the often hidden role of social relations in shaping farming practices and decision-making. We argue that these relations, which involve both human and non-human entities, shape farming livelihoods and rural realities and are central to agricultural extension. In this activity, we use a relational and historical approach to explore why these relations have remained largely absent or at the background from agricultural extension discourses and practice. This project is a cross-cultural, transdisciplinary effort that brings together an exciting and diverse group of academics and practitioners who share a commitment and passion to work with smallholding farmers in the northwest of Cambodia. Our partners include the National University of Battambang, the Bailin Department of Agriculture, Partners for Rural Development, the French Agricultural Research and International Cooperation Organization, the University of Canberra, Macquarie University, the University of Adelaide, and the University of Melbourne. We are all working together, using different perspectives and bringing together also different disciplines and ways of doing research and engaging with farmers, but all interested in positioning farmers and extensionists as central to agricultural extension. I started working on this project in April 2021. The research team has been navigating the challenges of doing research in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. This has, in a way, delayed the start of our fieldwork, but also opened an opportunity to spend more time collectively reflecting, listening, and learning from each other as we carefully think and imagine what would a next generation of agricultural extension look like. Please note that this activity received ethics approval from the Research Ethics Committee at the University of Melbourne on the 1st of September 2021. Farming realities are shaped by complex and intersecting social relations, which extend beyond farming practices, shaping human and non-human interactions and rural realities. Like many rural areas around the world, the northwest of Cambodia has experienced a rapid boom in the production of cash crops, intensifying deforestation and facilitating the transition from subsistence to commercial crop production. This area is often represented in the literature as the last forest frontier in Cambodia, a borderland, a post-conflict zone. All these representations have different implications in how we imagine and interact with this area. Our recent review of the literature on agricultural extension, an effort led by Dr. Brian Cook, our project leader, and published in the journal World Development, revealed that although critical researchers have historically highlighted the importance of sociopolitical factors in shaping agricultural practices and farmer decision making, agricultural extension has largely privileged scientific approaches, seeing extension as the diffusion of technologies and knowledge that are produced by experts in universities, research institutes, and field research stations. As such, extension projects often assume that the problems faced by farmers can be fixed by technological solutions, an approach where experts identify problems and work independently to create technical solutions. Of course, this limits the interactions that these experts have with farmers, placing these interactions mostly in the space of consultation processes and the delivery of training and workshops, rarely identifying farmers as experts, innovators, and central in the co-creation of solutions. Moreover, in studying and developing solutions that are detached from local context and from the complex social, political, and economic dynamics that shape farmer decision making, there's also an underlying assumption that farmer problems can be solved by increasing crop yields and intensifying agriculture. To imagine what a next generation of agricultural extension look like, we start by questioning these assumptions. We use a political ecology lens to examine and engage with the complexity of farmer social relations and power dynamics. We focus on processes of agrarian change, studying struggles over the access to and control over resources, places, and people, understanding agrarian change as the changing dynamic social relations that shape agrarian context. Here, we understand social relations as encompassing the relations between human and non-human entities, including animals, farms, seeds and soil, land, technology, policy, the market. And we will try through this project and through the different activities to understand and map these relations and use these as a way to think and create and envision a different way of doing agricultural extension. We're very lucky to be able to draw on the lessons from the project uptake of agricultural technologies and best practices amongst farmers in Battambang and Pilin provinces in Cambodia, which is also led by Dr. Brian Cook and funded by ACIAR. This project has been creating a large data set that enables understandings of the complexity of problems and potential solutions associated with cassava production in the northwest of Cambodia. We have been reading and learning from 330 interviews with cassava farmers to understand how farmers negotiate and respond to environmental change, pest and disease management, declining yields, and price volatility. In facing the emotional, temporal, financial, and material burdens of agrarian transitions, farmers frequently fall into a debt cycle to maintain control over their land and farming livelihoods. Of course, this is done while younger generations migrate to search for better economic opportunities, but also to send remittances back home to help their families who are struggling to pay their debts. For many, this translates also to selling and renting their land and assets, and in some cases, sacrificing food intake to pay debts. Life in this rural context is precarious and uncertain, as many are gradually dispossessed from their land, farming livelihoods, labor networks, and family support. The findings from this project highlight the importance of age, gender, and time in understanding agrarian change. Time emerges as key in this project and also as central to how we think of the next generation of agricultural extension, as we acknowledge that many of these farmers are really struggling to find time to do things. They're investing all of their time trying to find different livelihood opportunities, working as hard as they can, and of course, creating a project of agricultural extension that supports farmers involves acknowledging this precarity of time. We aim to review the political economy of agrarian change in northwest Cambodia, analyzing historical agrarian transitions to understand the power relations shaping farming practices and land use. The first aim here is to acknowledge that history and context matters, and we focus on the context of power, land, and farming. Drawing on this context, we will engage with extensionists, which include agricultural scientists, government agencies, commercial vendors, and development sector actors to study the role played by social relations in enabling or disabling extension practices. We interrogate how the social relations fostered by certain actors and processes that we denote as the missing extensionist have been included in the extension discourse. In doing this, we seek to contrast the experiences and understandings from individuals and organizations working in public and private agricultural sector in Cambodia and those in other countries in Southeast Asia. The questions guiding the same is how has the political economy of agrarian change intersected agricultural extension interventions in the northwest of Cambodia? What is known about social relations in the context of behavior change, including considerations within the agrarian change literature? How do extensionists in Cambodia and in other countries in Southeast Asia understand farmer social relations? How are the social relations of key individuals and processes included in agricultural extension discourses and practices in the northwest of Cambodia? And last but not least, the aim of this activity is to work with extensionists and for farmers. We intend to focus on how extension is done matters. And in doing this, we need to engage and interact with extensionists, learn about what is constraining their practices, about their own experiences, and identify ways in which extension can be framed as a work that is done for farmers, at the service of farmers. So let me start with the first aim, on history and context matters, power, land, and farming. What we're asking here is how has the political economy of agrarian change intersected with agricultural extension interventions in the northwest of Cambodia? How are farmers and their farming practices imagined and discussed in the extension discourse? To do this, we use a political ecology lens to explore what is missing and who's excluded from the agricultural extension discourse and practice. In doing this, first, we're doing a historical review of agrarian change, and then a systematic review of agricultural extension, looking at different projects, actors, interventions, what is being prioritized, what is being discussed, who is doing extension. The outcomes of these analysis is to create a historical review of agrarian change and agricultural extension in the northwest of Cambodia, and be able to map key actors, policies, technologies, and projects that have shaped and influenced agricultural livelihoods in this area. For the second aim, we are looking at agricultural extension is about social relations, and this is central to this project. What we're doing here is asking what is known about social relations in the context of agrarian change and agricultural extension. How do extensionists in Cambodia and Southeast Asia understand farmers' social relations? How are the social relations of key individuals or processes included in agricultural extension discourses and practices, and why? How we plan to do this, so we plan to review what social relations mean in the agricultural extension literature and also in general, compare different understandings, ideas, how it is defined, what is included in this idea of social relations, and why. We also want to conduct semi-structured interviews with leading extensionists in Cambodia and Southeast Asia to get a sense of how these extensionists are engaging with social relations, how they would define them, and how are these relations important in their projects, in the success of certain interventions, and also in the problems many of them have faced. The outcomes of this aim is providing key elements for the following activities of this project, understanding the complexity of the context, but also the complexity of social relations shaping agricultural extension. And moreover, we plan to write a research article on the missing extensionists, where we highlight the stories and the experiences of human and non-human actors and processes that are still missing from agricultural extension discourses and practices. So the third aim of this activity is on working with extensionists and for farmers. And for me, this is a very exciting part of this activity. It draws on first our first aim, that is about on the history, the political economy of agrarian change. Then we have our second aim, that is discussing with extensionists about the role of social relations, why social relations matter, why they've been included or excluded from extension projects. And then what we're trying to do here is acknowledge that both extensionists and farmers are central to agricultural extension. In engaging with extensionists, we have the opportunity to also build relations and start conversations with them on what is really constraining their projects. Why are these relations not being considered or reported as important in agricultural extension, and foster knowledge exchange opportunities and collaboration to support the transition to a new generation of agricultural extension. How we plan to do this? We plan to do this by using many different activities. Some of these activities we're still thinking about what to do, so we are welcoming any input, and of course many of the how to do this will emerge through the conversations and through the networks and possibilities enabled by these extensionists. But initially we're thinking of collaborating and working with the Faculty of Agriculture and Food Processing at the University of Battambang, coordinating a subject on social research methods for community engagement. We have done this after discussing this with Dr. Pau at the University of Battambang, who've been highlighting key elements, key themes that could be of use to support their master programs and to support also the new generation of agricultural extensionists to have tools in social research methods. But we also want to organize knowledge exchange and a special issue to discuss the importance of social relations and agricultural extensions, and identify ways on how to work for farmers rather than on farmers. And I think this, of course, is an invitation of questioning assumptions, questioning practice, and identifying exciting opportunities on how to work collaboratively with farmers. So the outcomes of these aim will be, of course, to support with training and capacity building, particularly for our partners in Cambodia, but also to create knowledge exchange and a special issue that brings this conversation not only to the Cambodian context, but more broadly to other extensionists working and thinking about the importance of social relations in other countries and places. Here you will see a summary of our Gantt chart of this activity. We're going to be working on the 3 aims during our first year, but I plan to finish working on the first aim, which is central to the other activities of this project during our first year. Then we're going to be working on the second aim, and we plan to finish the key outputs for the second aim on the second year, and we'll be developing the third aim that is more about working and collaboration during the whole span of the project. It is exciting to present to you a summary of the first activity. You have heard about us asking about what the next generation of agricultural extension look like, and then define 3 main aims for this activity. One on history and context matters, the other one on social relations, also acknowledging that social relations matter, and the third on working with extensionists and for farmers. Of course, any suggestions and comments are more than welcome. Please let us know if you have any recommendations or any ideas that will be of use in how we think of these key aims and develop this activity further. For more information, please visit our website, farmerdecisionmaking.com. You can also contact the project lead, Dr. Brian Cook, and follow our updates via Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for listening, and I invite you to listen to the other introductory videos and to learn more from the different activities that are part of this project.